Hey, this is Joe from Woodsy's Music. Demonstrating the Korg Kronos today, and specifically also using the Korg MicroKey Midi controller. The Korg Kronos has some really cool stuff you can do involving external controllers, and we're going to dive into that a little bit today, and how you would use the MicroKey to control some of the cool features in the Korg Kronos. Okay, so the first thing we're going to take a look at is some settings we want to get happening in the Korg Kronos before we go and take the MicroKey, run it into the computer, and do a little editing. So I'm in the combination mode right now. Just hit the combi button on the right side here, and you can see that I've toggled through to 042 expressive Grandin voices. That was the stuff you were hearing at the beginning. Awesome Karma technology with arpeggiators going and things like that. Sounds really cool, but what I want to do is I want to use the MicroKey to maybe play a lead line over top of this kind of composite sound we have going here. So we're going to need to do a couple of things. As you can see, you can take a look. There's only 6 instruments in use right now, and we have all these that are muted. They default to just the grand piano setting when they're not being used. So what we need to do is we need to add an instrument, and we also need to make sure that it's going through an isolated MIDI channel, because what happens is if we have more than one instrument on a MIDI channel, that's what you're going to hear from the MicroKey if we set it to that channel. For example, if we set the MicroKey to channel 2, whatever's on channel 2 according to the Kronos is what you're going to hear from the MicroKey. So what we need to do is we need to go to timbre parameter down here at the bottom, and this shows us our mapping of where everything's going. You can see the first 2 patches here are on global channel, and then subsequently channel 2, 3, 4, 10, 6, and so on and so forth. Okay, so our first 6 instruments we don't want to touch, because those are already part of the combination. We like that. We don't want to change any of that. We want to add a 7th. So here we are on instrument number 7, and we want to make sure that we're using a MIDI channel that has nothing else on it. So let's take a look. I don't see any other instruments using channel 6, so I think we're good. So let's go back, and we know that channel 6 is the channel that we want to use. Next, we're going to jump to the computer. Okay, so we've got our Korg MicroKey plugged into the MacBook via USB, and I have downloaded the Korg Control Editor software from Korg's website. It's really easy to do. It doesn't take very long. And when you plug it in, it detects which Korg controller you have connected. And so I clicked OK, and here we are. This is what we see, the MicroKey displayed on the screen. And obviously you can control lots of things and edit lots of things, but what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're going to MIDI channel 6 on this controller. This is not something that you can just do on the controller by itself. You have to do this with the editor. On the Korg tactile controllers, for example, you can control which MIDI channel you're controlling. You can do that on the keyboard itself. But with the MicroKeys, you need this editing software. We want to go into our common feature, which is another just way to say global, I guess you could think of it that way. And we want to make sure that we are going to MIDI channel 6. So I clicked in this box up here, which is common, or you can come down here and click common. It's the same thing. I'm going to adjust my MIDI channel to MIDI channel 6, and this is very important. You have to come up to File, Communication, and click Write Scene Data. Click on that. See here, this operation will rewrite data on the MicroKey 25. Are you sure? You need to say yes, you need to do this. Otherwise, everything that you edit will not matter, because the MicroKey will just go back to where it was. So again, head up to Communication, click on Write, and we click OK, and it's there. All we have to do is quit the Korg controller editor. Asks if we want to save. Yeah, let's go ahead and save. Save as, I'll just call it MIDI channel 6. Boom. Here we are back at the Kronos. I've got my MicroKey here sitting to the side. I've got it plugged in the back via the USB port, and I want to make sure that my MIDI channel 6 is the instrument that I want it to be. So let's go back into our timbre parameter and just double check. Yep, our instrument number 7 is MIDI channel 6, so we're good. If we've done this right, I'm going to unmute it, and we should hear this instrument right now is the Kronos German Grand. So if I've done it right, we should hear that coming from our MIDI controller. Hey, how about that? And if you don't believe me. So we did it right. So now I want to audition a couple sounds because I don't know exactly what it is that I want. So I'm going to come up to instrument number 7 here, and I want to find a nice lead synth line. Let's see what the vintage sci-fi sounds like. I'm not so sure. Ooh, it's got a nice little ending there to it. Sure, let's use that. Okay. So I select OK, and away we go.